Hi, my name is Nawal Malik, and today I'll be discussing the implications of managing the Nutria invasion. According to the World Wildlife Fund, the definition of biodiversity is the variety of life which can be found in an area. For example, different types of animals, plants, fungi, and even microorganisms like bacteria that make up our nature are all part of biodiversity. Biodiversity can be found in ecosystems. An ecosystem is a community of living, biotic, and non-living, abiotic organisms which live together or characterize in a specific area. As said by the editors of Encyclopaedia Britannica, organisms in an ecosystem can be distinguished between biotic and abiotic easily. An example of biotic organisms includes various animals and plants, whereas abiotic includes minerals, soils, water, rocks, sunlight, and other non-living things. Furthermore, species diversity is interconnected to biodiversity. There is no organism which is exactly the same. For instance, if an animal gives birth, its children will not be exactly the same. This is called descent with modification. Descent with modification is the concept of species having children who slightly vary in looks and behavior to each other and their parents. The main idea of this term is that every living thing on this earth is related, descending from a common ancestor. It is believed that a single original species has given rise to all of the living things we know, through many generations. Overall, biodiversity is essentially the measure of species richness. So now that we have a better understanding of what biodiversity is, let's look into why it's important. Biodiversity is important because it underpins our lives, the oxygen we need to breathe, the water we need to drink, and the food that we need to eat. Without it, we would not be able to survive. So without balance, our ecosystems will collapse. For example, if we didn't have trees or plants, we wouldn't have any oxygen, since plants produce carbon dioxide. However, there are invasive species that are threatening our biodiverse ecosystems. An example of this is the Nutria. The Myocastor coipus, more commonly known as the Nutria, are large semi-aquatic rodents which can grow up to be 43 to 64 centimeters long. They appear to be a mix between a beaver and a rat with a thick coat of fur. Fun fact, according to Columbia River, the scientific name for Myocastor is derived from the Greek words mais, which means mouse, and castor, which means beaver, translating to mouse beaver. These animals are able to adapt to a variety of environmental conditions, usually residing along lakes, riverbanks, marshes, streams, and ditches. Their diet usually includes wetland plants and small insects, and sometimes even snails. Therefore, they are usually found in areas with dense vegetation. These animals are native to South America. However, they have been spread to parts of Asia, Africa, Europe, and North America throughout the many years. The Nutria were brought to the U.S. in 1899 with the intentions to establish a fur farm industry. The farmers wanted to harvest and trade these animals for their soft undercoat of fur. However, the fur market industry collapsed in the late 1900s. The farmers were no longer able to afford them, therefore they were forced to release them into the wild, thinking they would naturally die. However, the Nutria thrived in the wild, having access to vegetation and very few predators. The environment was perfect for them to eat and reproduce. One of the reasons that Nutria are such a big problem is because they rapidly multiply. These animals breed year-round and are able to have 3 litters yearly, with a maximum of 13 offsprings per litter. According to Shaughnessy Farrow, September 12, 2018, though they typically only live between 3 and 6 years in the wild, they're such prolific breeders that, as one invasive species project notes, even in that short time frame, the amount of offspring produced is tremendous. Due to their rapid reproduction, the number of nutria in the wild are multiplying tremendously. As mentioned previously, nutrias live in an area with dense vegetation and access to a water source. They create their burrows and tunnels near an area where they have access to water, which damages the integrity of flood control levees, canals, and stream banks, resulting in erosion and instability. They heavily feed on wetland plant roots, which changes the soil structure and deprives its nutrients. According to Eugene Daily News, nutrias feed on the lower stems of plants, wasting nearly 90% of the plants, which in turn disturbs the ecological balance of other animals and insects that live in the same habitat, and are known for digging through the banks to reach the roots, causing more erosion. Once all of the plants are gone, they move to a new area with a water source, restarting the process. There are numerous control methods. However, they are not eco-friendly or cost-effective. Many landowners put out traps on their lands to catch these invasive species. They are allowed to shoot or kill them with a permit. However, they are not allowed to relocate the nutrias in a new area. Another tactic to control the problem is creating baits for birth control. However, this is extremely expensive, roughly costing $6 million annually. Therefore, I think the solution best fit for this problem is using zinc phosphide baits. Zinc phosphide is an inorganic compound made up of phosphorus and zinc, utilized in bait for rodents. It can come in powder, dust, or tablet form. When an animal ingests the bait, the acid in the animal's stomach chemically transforms the zinc phosphide into a toxic gas known as phosphine. It is put into bait, which attracts pests and rodents such as rats, field mice, gophers, ground squirrels, and nutrias. After an animal ingests the bait, the phosphine in the stomach then crosses into the body's cells, preventing the cells from producing energy. This causes the cells to die. Zinc phosphide affects all of the cells in the body. However, it specifically targets the cells in the liver, the heart, and the lungs. The zinc phosphide is a dangerous poison for animals who cannot throw up the poison, such as rats, mice, voles, ground squirrels, prairie dogs, nutria, muskrats, feral rabbits, and gophers. It's used on agricultural lands to prevent the nutria from eating crops, as well as non-agricultural areas such as lawns, backyards, highways, and more. Moving forward, let's look into the implications of the solution. The first implication is environmental. Although zinc phosphide is an effective rodenticide, it is very dangerous for the environment. Not only is it toxic for rodents, it is very dangerous for humans as well. According to the National Pesticide Information Center, zinc phosphide dust may release phosphine once it contacts the moist tissues of the respiratory tract if the dust is inhaled, resulting in pulmonary edema and cardiotoxicity. If ingested, zinc phosphide releases phosphine in the gut and may cause headaches, dizziness, fatigue, nausea and vomiting, cough, dyspnea, chest tightness, and thirst. Other signs include liver failure, jaundice, loss of ability to urinate, tetany, delirium, convulsions, coma, and death. For instance, if someone has a nutria problem and they put the zinc phosphide baits in their backyard or lawn, their children may accidentally come in contact with the poison. Additionally, children are young and careless and tend to put things in their mouth without knowing the risks. There is a greater risk of death if the person who swallowed zinc phosphide has eaten recently, because the food will trigger the release of gastric acids, which work as an initiator to the chemical transformation. Not only is ingesting the zinc phosphide dangerous, inhaling it can be lethal as well. According to Merck Manual, phosphine gas, when inhaled, results in acute non-cardiogenic pulmonary edema. Moreover, the bait is dangerous for non-target organisms, including pets such as cats and dogs, birds, squirrels, and other mammals. If these animals ingest the zinc phosphide tablet or powder, it will affect them in the same way it is supposed to affect the targeted animals. Pellets that contain the poison especially attract birds because they think that it's food. All baits should be placed out of reach of any pets, children, and untargeted animals to ensure their safety. Furthermore, zinc phosphide is poisonous for grass and plants. Farmers and landowners usually spray the zinc phosphide over their lands to prevent nutria and other rodents from coming on the land and eating the vegetation. However, due to its toxicity level, the poison remains on the land for a long period of time. If there are heavy rains, the landowners have to respray the poison on the lands. This causes innocent animals and plants to die because of the toxic chemicals in the area. Moving on to the economical implication aspect. As mentioned previously, another tactic to control the problem is setting out birth control baits for nutrias. However, this is extremely expensive, roughly costing around $6 million annually. Additionally, this tactic is not effective as it does not prevent the nutrias from eating all of the vegetation, nor does it prevent them from causing disturbances in the ecosystem. The birth control bait will only be able to avert the nutrias from reproducing and multiplying. Another solution to control this problem would be shooting the nutrias. However, it is not allowed without a hunting or gun permit. The only ideal solution is using zinc phosphide baits. Although zinc phosphide is bad for the environment, it is an affordable way to get rid of the invasive species. Another positive aspect is that zinc phosphide baits are easy to find in stores. Additionally, most poisons and chemicals require a certificate to be purchased. However, zinc phosphide rodenticide is available to everyone. It can be found in local stores, pharmacies, and even online. Zinc phosphide baits can be found in local stores, pharmacies, and even online. The prices on Amazon and eBay range from $20 to $40, meaning that it's very affordable. People will not have to pay a lot of money to get rid of the problem. In conclusion, the best justified method is using zinc phosphide baits to get rid of this problem because it is cost efficient, easily available, and an easy method which does not require a lot of work. Hopefully, in the future, people will start using zinc phosphide baits to get rid of nutrias and stop these invasive species from hurting the ecosystem.